Okay, I've been spending a lot of time off camera getting stuff ready to put the motor together here. I'm laying a lot of time on this damn oil pump. So I scraped some of the gasket or some paint off of it. I sanded it a little bit on this side to make it look a little bit better, a little flatter. So that's not too bad. I checked the gear height in here to see what the gear height was, and the pressure side is slightly above the surface and the return side is flush or slightly below the surface. When you put your gaskets onto there, then that adds to your clearances. So if you're already negative when you start and you put a gasket on it that's 8.5, 9 thou thick, it doesn't give you your 2 to 3 thou clearance on the gear you want. But unless you surface grind this down, you can't do much about it. With this tube in here for the 65 feed, for your primary feed, what they use for 65 to 60, early 68 they use this pump. You can't just sand these things down with sandpaper, but the problem with sandpaper is it doesn't always cut dead flat. It really needs to be surface ground to make it right. But anyway, I don't have that, so we got to deal with it. So what I do is I measure up all my gaskets with my calipers, and we go through all the different gaskets and stuff here and pick out the ones that are thinnest ones. So this one here was the thinnest one here, but it's all shriveled up. I don't feel like dealing with it, so I'm not going to. I need that. So I used one of these gaskets here, which is actually pretty thin. These are like 9 thou thick, 9.5. These are 5.5, I think. They're old ones that you can't buy no more. So anyway, I got some of these are 5.5, other ones are 8. So this one's 5.5. So the gear was sitting up at just above the surface a little bit. With a 5.5 gasket, we should come in pretty close to 0 to 2 thou clearance. So we'll do a mock-up with the pump, tighten it all down, and see if it locks up. If it locks up the gears, side to side where you can't turn it, it's no good. So that's too close. Next problem is I'm deciding whether to take the oil system out of the primary or not. I think I'm going to. So I have been cleaning up some stuff. Now this here is the fitting that comes out of here. That goes up the oil tank, feed line. This has an adjustable chain oiler right here. There's a tapered screw right here that comes apart. And it goes into down in the bottom here. So you can see it down in there. It just plugs up an orifice with a tapered hole. So I'm going to cap that down there. It has a washer in here, so it's not fully closed. It's open a little bit for a chain oiler. They did not use a tapered pipe thread in here because that's what these were, and they don't work. So it has a 3/8 straight thread because it probably had a brake line, looked like a brake line coming out of it probably. So what I'm going to take this plug here, which came out of the case down here, the old one. It's a 3/8 straight thread. It fits into the hole here fine, but it's too tall. So I'm going to put my lathe. I'm going to cut off about half of these threads. And there's a copper or brass washer that goes in here. I will use on here that used on a later pump. So that'll seal it with a brass washer so it shouldn't leak. And when you're all done, it's going to look like a stock application. Now for this here, I think I'm just going to take an 1/8 inch welding rod. Here's one right here. And I'll put a Loctite on it. I'm going to jam it inside of this tube here. So I'll just do that. That ought to plug it up pretty good. Yep. Now when you lose it though. So I think I'll do that. This hole goes all the way through right here. The other option is you need to plug up these 2 lines here, which are your feed lines for your chain oiler. And I think that one there also is the one that feeds these 2 holes. So anyway, I'm going to leave all this stuff on. I'm just going to plug it right here. We can put a dummy hose on it and run it to the back of the bike. Will be fine. Normally that goes to the inner primary. I'll go over the bike over here. Goes right to here, which feeds oil. Now on the later bike there's a fitting right here for a vent. This primary has no vent on it. That means it probably made it in the leak. So when this thing gets hot and full of hot air, it can't escape. It finds a place to shoot the oil out. So what I'm going to do is, we already got this fitting sticking here, which is normally a feed. I'm going to go ahead and leave this in here, and I'll put a vent hose coming up off of here, and I'll just go up top of the tranny and down the back side, and hopefully it won't transfer any oil out of it. So we'll have to see how that works. If he gets oil out of his hose, we'll have to put a restrictor in or do something. But there's no other feed line, there's no vent line in this primary. All you got's a suction line here and a drain here. So you got to make the whole system work. So that's what we're trying to figure out, what to do to make it all work. The other thing is I got to relap the seat here for the check ball down in here that they always leak. So normally I just use a rod like this here. We just turn it with hand with lapping compound. Now this one here is not round anymore, it's tapered because it's all worn out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cut this off. I'm going to take his ball over here and weld it on. Now normally I weld these on. I'm going to try soldering it on less temperature. So the ball should be hot. Well, I mean, it should be hardened and won't wear as much as these ones here do. So you get as much wear on the ball here as you do inside your seat. So I'm going to go work on that a little bit. Just a lot of little loose ends here. I got to figure out what I'm doing. You know, all the stuff in here is easy. It works. I'll have to get a new gear for here and a new oil pump drive gear for on the crank. We were going to replace this nut, but I think it'll be fine. I can make it work. Save a couple bucks. So I just need to get the 6-tooth gear and the 24-tooth drive gear, which are different than the ones that come out of the bike. We have a bunch of parts here we're not using anymore, from all the old stuff. Anyway, I'll pull those gears out a little bit lighter and I'll show you what they look like. I'll go ahead and clean up all the loose parts I had here. We're going to put the high stock hydraulics back into it. Hopefully they work. There'll probably be some issues with those, I'm sure, but anyway. Alright, so I'm going to go work on this other stuff and we'll be back. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and lap out this ball seat on the pump here. So I tried soldering the ball on, that didn't work, so I had to braze it on. I did a good job, it burnt my hand real nice. Don't put your hand like that on the ball when it's hot. So anyway, I got most of the flux off there. There's a little bit in the way, but we'll have to lap it to bring it in. So just use a valve guide lapping or valve seat lapping compound, which is a kind of a, it's on the coarser side of fine. So it's like a fine coarse. I think it's like 220 grit or something I'm using. Alright, so you just put a little bit on the ball. You don't need much on there. It's going to hit on the outside edge here, not on the peak, so you don't have to put it there. Stick it in the pump, and just rotate it back and forth with your hand. You spin it like this if you want. I just usually go like this to get a better feel. Move it around side to side as much as you can like this here to spread the lapping compound around the whole face of the ball, not just one little spot. We don't know how bad the seat is, so we're just going to do an initial hit on it, see what we got. When the lapping compound starts to feel a little dull and dead, then that's enough. Alright, see what we got. So you can see where the ball, where it's actually hitting is right on the very outside edge there almost. You can see the ball's a little out of shape there, but at least it's round one. The other one was triangle shape. Okay, so I don't know if you can see up in there, but lapping compound is in there. So I'm going to squirt it with some brake clean and blow it out. Alright, so I don't know if you can see up in there or not. There should be a nice gray ring around the seat area up there. The gray is where it's actually hitting. So I can't see through the camera, so get my flashlight out so I can see what I'm looking at. Looks like a nice gray seat all around to me. So I don't know. Might be able to see that on the video when I get home. The camera and the TV are two different things. Alright, so that looks like that did a good job. This side here doesn't need to be ground, it's on the pressure side. You don't have to lap that in, it doesn't matter. This is the one that makes it leak, and wet sump is leaking past this one. Okay, so now after we did that, now I take a ball and I beat it in the seat. Where's all my balls at? There's one. Okay, I found a used ball. Oh, it looks a little small for some reason. Okay, this is 3/8 ball. Let's see, this is 3/8. Put that in there. This is just one we took out of a bike. Put that in there. Take an aluminum punch. And a steel hammer. Give it a couple of whacks. Okay. Get the ball out. Now what that does is it takes the lapping marks, which could stick up like the peaks of mountains, and you knock the ball against it and that mushes it down, so it burnishes it down to give you more of an even lapping surface, or a nice sealing surface I should say. And obviously the ball is round, so it's going to leave you a round mark you want, or spear shaped. So anyway, that's how I do it, so that should be good. So we'll put a brand new ball in here now when we put the pump together, and that's how you fix these things up. At least that's how I do it. Okay, make sure you don't mix up your old balls or your new balls, so we'll get rid of this one. Put it back in the ball drawer. Okay, now the pump, now I gotta make up the plug for the putting it together with, or sealing up that hole I should say. Go over here. Put the camera right there. Lapping compound. Lapping compound and new motor building are not two things you want in one spot, that's for sure. Okay, so now we take our piece of material we got here, welding rod. File it down just a little bit to get a little bit of a taper area on it. That way you can get it started in the hole. That should go in. Okay, I'm going to cut off a little piece of it. I'm not sure how far I can put this in, so we're going to give it a good 1/2 inch worth. So, got a good solid 1/2 inch worth on there. Kind of a straight edge here to push against. Doesn't have to be perfect, just enough for a punch to push against. Okay, I give me a little punch. This one's too big to go in the hole. A smaller one. Okay, this one here is small enough to go into the hole. There you go, so I can beat this down below flush because we don't really want to see it. Okay, I'm going to put me a little Loctite on it. We're going to use a penetrating 290 capillary action. It sucks in and seals up surfaces. So this will seal the hole up. So we just put a little bit of this on the surface of it. Stick it in there. Alright. tap this thing in. And they're pretty good. Just a little small punch. It's too good, it's loose. So once it got past the edge of the tube, it falls in, so it's not really tight in the hole. It's not exactly what we were after. Alright, so let's see, what am I going to do about that? I guess I pretty much just let it, put Loctite on it and let it set up, I guess. The 290 will seal that hole up, believe me. The problem is I don't want it going in the pump. So we gotta get it out of the pump area. So we push it back up to here. Figure out we're going to hold this thing up. I think we need to knock this out, peen it a little bit so it'll stay put, so I can put a little stuff on it. I need a punch that's smaller than this to get it out. If that won't go in. Alright, I'll work on that and I'll be right back. Alright, we're back at it again. Okay, I gave up on that piece of aluminum. It was an 1/8 inch, and the hole was actually 138 to 140 thousandths. So I went ahead and took a piece of bar stock, cut it down, and made myself a little plug. So this should go in there and plug it up. If it'll go in this hole. Because right now it looks like it won't go in there. Yeah, looks like it's a little bit too big. It's time you measure something. It doesn't always come out what you want it to do. Alright, let's see if we can figure out what size this thing really is. 136 thousandths is this drill. Let's go see what the hell size this thing really is. So my caliper measured wrong. I must, oh, I know why it was wrong. I measured with my crappy calipers that are worn out. I forgot. They have 2 to 3 thou wear on them. So now we have a problem. I can't turn that pin down because my lathe don't go that small. And this hole's 136 thousandths, not 139, 140 like I made the pin. So, not likely I'm going to be able to beat that into there because it will destroy it. So this nice fancy pin I made, it's pretty much worthless. Unless I make the hole bigger, which we can do. Next drill size is 140, which is the size of my pin. So if I take that and drill it out, And I'll be able to put my pin in there. Of course, this will work a lot better if you do it in a lathe or in a drill press than by hand. Why make everything easy, right? Have less chance of screwing it up by hand. Alright. Well, let's see if the pin goes in there. Oh, look at that, it goes in. It goes in there about that far. So it's a little bit loose here, but once it gets in there all the way, it gets tight. Now, do we want to beat it in the rest of the way and hope it goes all the way down? I don't think so. I think we'll just drill it a little bit deeper. I'm alright with beating it in 1/8 of an inch, but I want to beat it in 1/4 inch. I know the drill's deeper than that, so it's in there pretty far. Trying to get away from me. Okay, get a reference to how long it is. Ah, it's getting hot. I'm doing it by hand, but it's making heat. Okay, I'm good with that. Okay, now I'm going to take my Loctite. Same capillary action we had before. Well, this time it went all the way in. There's my small punch. Yep. So now it's just below the surface. So you can see there's actually a plug in there and it ain't solid. So that's in there. So that'll plug up the feed hole. Take another little drip of this, stick it right on here. Let it sit on top of there and let it soak in. And that'll seal up the rest of the way. Okay, we'll let that sit for a little bit. So, putting my Loctite away too soon. Okay, now the next thing was we had this here we had to plug up. So I took my plug and I cut it down. And now it should go all the way down. Just about all the way down without any gasket. So I'm going to go find me a little gasket to put in there, if I have one. We got a drill bit we're not going to use. Get all these tools out here. Everything's in the way. Put this out of the way. Be back in a second. That laying right there. Alright, let's see if we have a little gasket in here. So these are the little washers. Should be the right size if they fit any good. Yeah, they're not too good of a fit. So you got a pretty loose hole in them. So I think I just run it without it then. Typical fit sucks. Alright, so See if this goes all the way down. So it looks like it's sealing all the way against the surface there. I think it's hitting it now. Yeah. So we're hitting on the screw right here. Yep, little dimples hitting. So I'm going to knock another 30 thou off of this, which will give me the clearance. I was counting on using a gasket, now I'm not. So we'll rectify that situation. We'll cut a little shorter, then we don't have to worry about it. Alright, I'll be back in a minute. Okay, back again. Okay, I shortened the plug up a little bit, and then I also dimpled it. So we'll definitely will not have any contact with that screw now. Put some Loctite on here. We're using our capillary action stuff. It'll seal up the threads and everything, so it won't leak. So it goes on there like that. It'll drop right there on the surface. Tighten it up, it goes in there, seals it all up. I'm going to tighten that up a little bit. Okay. Hold it a little better than that though. So. Hate not having my vise right here, I can use it. Yeah, screw it. Be back. Hate my smooth jaw vise is not here. Oh, I got that stupid ass import piece of crap with knurled surfaces on it. Alright, so now you can see how the Loctite's all squeezed out, so that'll seal it all up so it'll never leak. Okay, now we got to tighten this one up. This one has a little bit of copper gasket on it. Or not copper, but brass. Close enough. So we'll do it up. Oh, we're not done with that yet. Press the wrench right here, it'll work. What a piece of crap. Stupid ass import tools suck. Every time I use one, I regret it. Okay, that's tight. Okay, now this is all ready to be used now. So now there's still some paint on it, so it's a little bit shinier than what it does now. So I'll just take our rag here to keep my hands dry. Of course we did all our prep work already, right? There we go. Good as new. Now you gotta find a place to let it dry. On the other workbench. Okay, so now we can get back to doing real work. Work on this oil pump. In parts. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and plug at the hole in the back of the case here. So we got an 1/8 inch pipe plug here. So in case you coming in after the video's already been watched before, that'd be this one that's way down deep inside here. That is your suction line for your inner primary. We're going to plug that up. We're going to use our capillary sealer here to do it. So this will suck into the threads and seal them up. And whatever else is not working very well, it'll seal it. Okay, that's tight. Wipe off the excess. Nobody's ever going to see it, but I will. Now it won't rust either. See, that would piss me off if I knew that was like raw metal in there. That black oxide is not good protection. Okay, now we can actually start the work on the motor put together. So we got a new bolt kit, nut kit, whatever. It's got all the hardware here we need. Get rid of our Loctite, we're done with it. Hopefully. So, we get all of our clips. And of course I don't have the tray for the clips. Here's a new ball bearing though. We do have that. Go backwards. So we can have that out so we can use that. Got our keys sitting here. So we're all good to go on all of that stuff. Okay, so we're missing our clip we need for holding the oil pump on, so go grab one in real quick. Doesn't matter how much stuff you pull out, you always need one more piece that you're missing. So this piece right here, oil pump clip, goes on the end of the shaft right there. Kind of important. Okay, we got to cut up on our packaging out here. A little worse, you can see better. Maybe. This customer's going with chrome hardware on everything, so Harley makes these in 3 colors. You got chrome, cad, and black. Your choice. We do need that special tall nut. It goes right up against that so you can tighten it up, see? It's kind of important. Pack all the stuff so well you can't get the stuff out. There we go. The rest of this we don't need. We needed to buy the whole thing. Okay, my snap ring pliers. Okay. Now we need to do a mock-up here before we do it for real. Because we need to see if the oil pump's going to rotate. So that means you take this gasket. If you're lucky, it'll go down without tearing it. Which I doubt. We're using a real thin gasket, so they are very easy to tear these things. So you just have to make sure you're not in a hurry to kind of work it down all the threads. And if you tear it, you won't be able to use it no more. Alright, you can see if we put this on there, it ain't going to come back up again. The gasket shrunk a little bit, so I can go soak it in water and make it look a little better. It'll swell back up. Or just glue it to the oil pump. So our first check is going to be the real check. If it doesn't work, we just clean it all up because it'll be destroyed. There'll be no going back to it. Interruptions again. Hello. Hello. Damn it. Hello. What are you calling on the other number? I'm working on a motor. Yeah, another hour or so, I'm busy. Yeah, well, you're by yourself now. Alright, I gotta go. Right, bye. Dog check. It's past Scooby's bedtime. It's only 5 minutes to 1 o'clock. Of course, that's 1 a.m., not p.m. But that's okay. Okay, so if we take it and stick it to the body here, the gasket won't get torn. Hopefully. This is gasket cinch we're using here, which is real thin. Get it up right. There's the gasket. Put a little bit more on the surface area here. See, that's gasket cinch. Come back and catch you with a still shot later if you want to see what it really was. Yeah, we'll get the important areas there anyway. Take this. Ooh, Scooby's going past my leg. Stick it to the oil pump. Gasket stitch is sticky, so it'll hold it. Alright. I get to go ahead and assemble the oil pump. Got a little rust going there for some reason in that one spot. Scrub that a little bit real quick. Okay. Knock down the rust a little bit. Make sure the gears go on. They do. Okay, you gotta make sure the clip here is on there tight, which it is. I like to put oil on the keyways here. Yeah, there it is. They help hold the key in, among other things. Okay, so the first key is a little stubby little key. It's a little half key thing. Kind of see it a little bit there. It's a narrow gear, so it takes a real narrow key. So you got narrow gears and fat gears. The narrow gears are the pump, the oil pressure. The thin ones are the sump return. So we're working on the feed side of it. So this is the pressure side. There you go. Okay, it's all the way up in there now. Oil on it. Don't lose that. Okay, lube it up real good. Pump has no seals on these early pumps. Oop, get what you can see in there. Oh, I did it back. What am I doing wrong here? I did it backwards. Oh, what am I doing here? Yeah, I did it backwards. Pressure side is on the inside, not the outside. It's called being a dumbass. All right. Get the key in there. Boom. All right. You have to figure that out before you do it for real, right? Fingers are nice and sticky. Okay, so now it goes into the pump. See how the gears matched top of the deck, so that means you know you got the right one in the right hole. Okay, you got the key over here. You got to put the key in there, like that. And you put the thin gear in there. Kind of rotate it back and forth. Let it kind of catch in there. Get a little screwdriver where we want to. Okay, knock the key down a little bit so it angles in there better. So if you can't get it going, you got to kind of do a three-handed deal. Got to get the key to start. Hold the key in and then push the gear on it. For some reason, this one does not want to go in. Okay, I got the screwdriver in here. Push the key on the back side, and you slide it in. If you have to force it, you're doing it wrong. Okay, so now we get all our keys are in there. So then I take a little bit of assembly lube, put it up on the shaft there. Yep, a little bit around the gear too, doesn't hurt. Take your other thin gear, Stick it up in there. Should just slide right in, but it's not. It's cocked a little bit, I guess. I'm not sure what's going on with that. Should just slide right in there, but it's not. Well, what the hell's going on? Came out of this motor. Just gotta let the gravity, just let it go under. I flipped the gear 180 too. Maybe there's some kind of a lip on the edge of the gear, I don't know. Anyway, gravity, just let it drop in just by going back and forth rotation. So whatever it was, it went in. Didn't have to force it, so that's good. Now we do the same thing on the other side. We put the little bit of oil over there. Put the gear in there. And that one goes in like it's supposed to go. Make sure it rotates. It does. Okay, so now we got everything in there. Keeping our oily fingers off the gasket surface. Okay, then we go ahead and we're going to head to assemble this thing. Of course, I need to get another gear I didn't bring with me yet. Okay, lube it up real good. Stick it on in the hole there. And of course, it's going to fight with me a little bit. For some reason, it doesn't want to go in. My guess is there's a stud screwing with me. That would be correct. This stud's probably been bent down a little bit. Looks straight, but it's off. So it's got to be bent out a little bit. So see, it looks like it's straight. Right down there. But the cover won't line up. See, the lower stud is off. It's about half a hole off, so it's bent about an angle like that from being hit on the case there. Well, I don't remember hitting on the case, but oh well. Things happen, right? So I took a plastic hammer and hit a little bit. I didn't really feel it moving, but obviously it moved. There we go. And that works correctly. Alright. One last opportunity to screw with me, see? Let's get out of the way. Alright, try it again. Look at that, it fits a lot better now. Okay, stop right there. I need to pick me up an oil pump gear. So we'll be back in a second. Go find me the 2 drive gears for the pump here. I didn't bring them yet. So we'll be back.